So everyone's panicking the AI is replacing developers, but the leaked data shows that only 4.2% of people are using ChatGPT for coding. So that's only 4%. Are we living in the biggest tech bubble of all time? While CEOs are saying AI writes 90% of the code, actual humans are actually using it to plan dinner parties and write love letters. So OpenAI just accidentally exposed the massive disconnect between Silicon Valley hype and reality. And after a long time building software, I've never seen such a brutal gap between what tech leaders claim and the hype that they're pumping and what users actually do. So today I'm going to reveal some of the shocking truths about how people are actually using ChatGPT and why this changes everything about the AI revolution. Let's jump into this today. All right, so the numbers don't lie, and we've been told a total fantasy about AI adoption that's completely detached from how people are actually really using the tool. So I want to show you how this is actually happening behind the curtains. So a huge report was released by ChatGPT themselves, by OpenAI here, right? And so again, not making this up here, folks. Here's how people are actually using ChatGPT. And this is a new report released in a collaboration with the National Bureau of Economic Research, offers one of the largest surveys of real-world AI chat usage. So OpenAI has released the largest report yet on how real people are actually using ChatGPT. The fascinating working research paper published by the National Bureau of Economic Research describes a wide-ranging study that used AI to analyze 1 million chat transcripts. So this isn't a small sample size, folks. Like, this is a pretty good size. To analyze 1 million transcripts, no human read any of the chats. So this was, aggregated, right? The study has not been peer-reviewed. Just kind of as a note, right? 70% of all queries were not work-related. Now, see, this is exactly what OpenAI does not want to hear. They do not want to hear that 70%, that only 30% is actually going to corporations. Because the thing is this 70% do not have deep pockets. These are personal people that are at most paying $20 a month. So this sends a chill down the spine of big tech as it's betting on enterprise AI to generate revenue. That's kind of a big thing here. Now, among the work-related, so of those 30%, the most common use with ChatGPT is writing. So the most common reason that people want this is because they're too lazy to write an email or more likely too lazy to write a report, right? So these reports that get generated here, this is actually the majority of the use case for it. Now, writing queries meaning questions, 42% of work-related messages and 52% of all messages who use work in business and management. Now, about half of all the queries or questions were classified as asking for guidance, advice, or information. So it's not even actually asking it to do like deep research. It's asking as if it was you were talking to another human. That's a little bit terrifying because basically whatever the status quo is, or the populace, the largest amount of data here is what it's going to go with. 40% of messages were requests classified as doing or asking the chatbot to complete a task. Now, female users contributed more than half of all the queries. So this is interesting because this was in July 25, but this is a big shift from early on because the vast study of users were male. So we're seeing a shift towards more women using it. Now, the youth love AI. Half of all messages were from adults under 26. So that's another staggering piece of research here. Now, OpenAI researchers took a random sample of about 1 million messages, right? So for over a year. So it's a pretty good sample size here. Now, kind of want to go through some of this here, right? Because creating an image, 4.2%, some kind of unknown category. So the unknown category and computer programming almost tied, right? So random things that it didn't even, like other or unused, it didn't even know about. Asking advice, twice the amount of computer programming. Like, let's go this here. Tutoring or teaching, more than twice of what the coding is being used for, right? And so creative ideation is kind of an interesting one, but specific info. So there is about 18% that's trying to get it to do some research for it. So that's kind of interesting. 4.5% in translation. Math calculations, which it's terrible at, is like 3%. Now, I saw one text here that was pretty funny. 2% of all ChatGPT uses is just greetings and chit-chat. Hi, ChatGPT. How are you? I'm doing great. That's about 2% of all chat. So just think about how many cities equivalent or could be powered instead of you just being polite to the LM because you might hurt its feelings. Like, this is what's kind of crazy about this, right? And so, like, this is where we're starting to see some really interesting things as the data has come out. Because I've interviewed hundreds of developers this year, and most tried ChatGPT for code once or twice and then went back to Stack Overflow or to a different tool like Claude Code or some of the others, right? The disconnect is so massive that Anthropic's CEO claimed AI writes 90% of the code, while OpenAI's own data shows nobody's actually doing it. Now, I get it. Claude code is better. The ChatGPT code. I hear everybody out there talking about this, screaming at me. I can just hear you guys. But this reminds me of when everyone said the mobile apps would replace websites, right? Spoiler alert, we still have plenty of websites. So is this blowing your mind already? Because if so, drop a comment down below because I'd love to hear from you guys. It's the best compliment you can give me. Now, a whopping 28.3% of ChatGPT usage is just for writing tasks, emails, essays, reports, and probably a lot of homework. So that's another huge part that's about this, right? Educational use dominates at multiple levels. Tutoring, teaching, practical guidance, all ranking in the top categories. Students aren't learning from AI. They're getting AI to do their homework while they're watching Netflix. So teachers are using it to create lesson plans while students use it to complete the same assignments. So it's AI taking on itself, right? So the how-to advice category of 8.5% shows that people trust a chatbot more than actual human expertise. So we've created an educational arms race where everyone's using AI, but nobody's actually learning anything, and nobody claims they're actually using it. So universities are panicked about AI detection while missing their entire educational model just becomes obsolete overnight. Now, here's the biggest thing is that there is a corporate fantasy. OpenAI desperately wants enterprise customers, but regular people are using ChatGPT for creative ideation and personal writing. Corporate IT departments are banning ChatGPT while employees use it on their phones in the bathroom. The technical help category is at 7.5% is mostly people asking how to format Excel spreadsheets, not building complex systems. So translation is a big part and gets used fairly frequently. Health, fitness, beauty, and self-care commands 5.4% usage. Now I want you to stop and think about this for a minute. That's more than coding. Okay, let that sink in for everybody who comes and tells you the developers are going obsolete. And so we're seeing a lot of different use cases here that make it really interesting. And it makes me kind of wonder, about this one here, right? So Forrest says, it's been 6 months. Is AI writing 90% of your code? Because Anthropic CEO says in the next 3 to 6 months, AI is writing 90% of the code, and in 12 months, nearly all the code will be generated by AI. Let me just tell you, 90% of the code is not being written by AI. I'm going to stand by that fact. Now, there's a new report that came out today that I'm going to do a little bit deeper dive analysis on, but I definitely wanted to touch on it today because it goes right into the heart of the subject here. So, AI boomer bust, Bain forecasts huge $800 billion gap between AI revenues and computer costs by 2030. So even with OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft pouring billions into data centers, a new report warns global supply chains may strain under surging AI power demand while monetization lags. Surprise! It's almost like it's a bubble, guys. So amid concerns that the artificial intelligence or AI industry is a bubble, characterized by excessive hype and company valuations that might not hold up. That's kind of what we've been talking about here. A top consultancy has put a worrisome forecast. Bain & Co. projects that by 2030, AI companies will need $2 trillion in combined annual revenue to fund the necessary computing power to meet projected demands. $2 trillion, folks. That's all of the net value of most of all but I think there's only 7 companies that are in the $2 trillion range. So $2 trillion to be able to meet this. However, the revenue is likely to fall $800 billion short of that figure. That's almost half, right? Almost half short. That means they're going to be almost 60% short. Sorry, 40% short. They're only going to have about 60% of the revenue that they're going to need for this. So they go on to say if the current scaling laws hold, AI will increasingly strain supply chains globally. The study notes a mismatch in the pace of billions of dollars investment by OpenAI, Google, and others in data centers and related infrastructure and efforts to monetize services like OpenAI. So let me kind of spell this out for you as if we were a 6th grader. It means that in order to buy the $5 lunch that you need, you're going to need $5. But the problem is you're only going to have $3. So that's correspondingly what they're saying by 2030. Now, folks, that's only 4 years away. So it's not like we're talking about some future dystopian thing. This is actually something that's going to happen within the next presidency type of cycle, right? This isn't within a very close time frame. So I think this is an interesting report, and I think it's going to be interesting to see as people wake up to try to figure out what we're going to do with this. What are people actually using AI for? It's been funny because for years we try to get these things packed full, more and more full of really fast hardware. And yet 90% of what we do is scroll and look at Instagram, something that ships that were on these phones, a decade ago could still do. So that's kind of the same thing I think we're going to run into with OpenAI. We have this bubble that everybody's hyping, and we've got to have more, and yet people are just using it for some basic pattern matching to help them write a report, do some emails, and talk about their date and what dress they should wear, right? And if you think I'm joking, that's actually like a legitimate category. So like, now I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Do you disagree with me? Do you think I'm overstating this? Like, I mean, come at me, like I'm totally good. Like, I would love to hear you guys' opinion. So make sure you leave a comment down below. And if your company needs help getting software up to date, we here at Startup Hack specialize in helping companies build custom software solutions. We're helping a lot of companies to build together with AI systems that actually help to minimize workflow and help to augment human workflows. So reach out to us, because that's our specialty here at Startup Hack. So here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers as well as build custom software solutions for companies. You can check out startuphack.com/Spencer, and here's some information about our services.
Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment, perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer.